I have to learn a 10-minute routine for my first Brewers Cup, and I have to learn every single word and all of the timings with my own music by heart. And I can honestly tell you, this completely freaked me out when I signed up for the Brewers Cup a few months ago. I was already reading into how to prepare for this presentation. And it's so hard because you also have to consider that you are brewing and you have to do a lot of things, but you have to know every word you're saying. So when I signed up for the Brewers Cup, I started to research systems, how other people prepare for it, but I couldn't find anything. And this is why I'm making this video today. I want to share with you how I'm preparing for it. I'm not sure if this is the best practice, but this system seems to work. I'm having my Brewers Cup routine in 3 weeks. And I already know the words by heart. So for me, the first part was understanding the problem. What do I have to do, to learn, to understand, to make a good presentation for my Brewers Cup? This is why the first thing I did was to research how other people did it before. I watched so many different presentations of Brewers Cup champions to understand what a presentation needs to be successful and nice. So what I noticed is that all these presentations have a nice story. I really like that, but on the score sheet, the story of the presentation is not as important as the content of the presentation. So what's actually quite nice when you watch videos on YouTube, you can try to understand their structure and what they're doing on stage. And what all these people have in common, they have a very clear section of their taste descriptors of the coffee. So this is one of the most important parts of their presentation are the taste descriptors. Some people start with taste descriptors, so it's done, and some have it at the end and build some tension. I decided to put mine more to the end. So when analyzing these different competitors, I found out that I have to build my own structure that fits my brewing style and the story I want to tell. So for myself to learn things by heart and to remember them properly and to memorize them, I have to design some different blocks in my speech so I know where I am at what time and what I have to say at this time. And that is why I divided my speech into different blocks. The block A is opening and concept. The block B is origin, farm and processing. The block C is water extraction and philosophy. Block D, brew method and recipe development. Block E is roasting. Block F is sensory experience. Block G is aroma evaluation and transfer. Block H is equipment and serving. And block J is closing. So with these different sections, which are also connected to different movements I'm doing on stage, it's way easier to learn these words and to know what I have to say at what time. I was actually also working with ChatGPT. You can take the scripts of other competitors by just getting the transcript on YouTube of their speech, give it into ChatGPT, also put in all of your information of your coffee, your brewing, your recipe, and then tell it that it should make a proper speech built on storytelling. And the result was already quite good, but I had to change a lot of things. So the thing that AI cannot take into account is the structure of your brewing. So I had to define certain stages where I'm saying which sentences. So it also fits my brewing style, my pouring, and whatever I'm doing on stage. So although the main structure was given by ChatGPT, I had to make many versions and adaptations to my final script. As I was preparing for this presentation already 3 months before the competition, I had to make some assumptions. So I put in informations of a coffee that I just drank and loved, and I knew that I would change it for my competition coffee. I also knew I have to change things in the recipe part or the farming and processing part, depending on the coffee I'm choosing. But as my presentation is focused on structure, I was very flexible in adapting these things now a few weeks before the competition. And the most important part is the intro and the outro of my presentation because it will stay the same. It's a lot of personal information about myself, how I am doing this, what's important to me with coffee brewing, how I understand coffee. And these parts will be the same throughout the whole preparation of the presentation. Right now, I'm 3 weeks out to my competition, so I'm still learning and I'm still focusing on my presentation. But right now, I know it by heart already because I studied it a lot and I'm still making adjustments. And I'm right now at version 9 of this script. So I always went back to writing and changed little things. And when I noticed that when talking it through and brewing at the same time, something is not perfect or something is missing, I was going back to my computer, writing it again, printing it out. And this is the exact reason why I have this pile of papers here with different versions of the script. Some I took with me on trips to study it. Some I printed and put it on the window in my brew bar to study it. So I always had a version of this with me over the last months so I can study it. For really memorizing every word, I like these different areas where I trained. For example, when I was on a trip with my partner, she was reading the lines to me, I was driving, and while I was driving, I was playing my music, my playlist for the presentation, and I was going through line by line with her. And this really helped me memorize the intro, for example. And the second part, which was really nice for studying, was really standing at my brew bar, connecting the words with the movements, knowing when I'm in the first pour at the first brewer, I have to say certain things. And when I'm moving to the next brewer, I have to say the next things. So connecting it to movements really helped me also a lot to achieve a fluent presentation until now. I'm quite busy as I'm a dad and I'm a business owner, so I don't have much time for learning and having silence to study these things. So I had to integrate it in some way into my daily life. And that's why I put it on my brew bar. So every time I'm making coffee, I had to study the script. And this way I was connecting something I already did, a habit, to studying my script. And this really helped me in the last week to really get it into my brain. So now back to the content of the script. What is really important when you're writing, always consider to connect your words to the cup you're serving. So the words you're saying, for example, how the coffee is roasted or how it's grown, what does it affect in the cup you're serving? How does it taste for the judges? You shouldn't spam the judges with unnecessary words, but only with words that they can connect to their tasting experience. So it's very important to connect every detail to the cup. For me, in my experience, this is quite hard because I cannot go very specific on the details because everything plays together in the end. But you have to find some statements that are accurate, precise, and that they can really taste the difference in the cup in the end and evaluate you on the informations you give them. Okay, so now let's have some real talk. My presentation will not be perfect for the first time at the Brewers Cup. And I'm looking forward to the debriefing where the judges tell me where there's still potential in my presentation and brewing. If you presented before on the Brewers Cup stage, please also share your experience down in the comments below. It's interesting to all of us in the community how you are preparing for the presentation as well. The structure of your presentation, but also how you really studied it and learned it. I believe that there are different learning types and some people need to learn in a different way than others. But this in this video is just how I approached it, and until now it worked quite well. I tried not to just memorize words by words, but like to memorize the structure and then I'm filling in the words. And with that, it just seems to work for me. I can just remind you that everything is built on repetitions, and if you're having struggles to remember words like I have, I really struggled to remember these words. Repetition is everything. Just saying them out loud, reading them, trying with a learning buddy, trying with brewing at the same time will really help a lot with that. And now I would love to hear from all of you guys, how do you learn stuff like that? How did you prepare for school in the past to memorize certain scripts or certain words? I would really love to hear your inputs in the comments down below and see you guys in the next video. Bye.